He's such a cute boy. Oh man, if something bad happened to Krypto in this man, I'm sure they're gonna have a scene where Krypto's gonna get hit by something. Superman's gonna get pissed off. We'll find out. He's a good pupper, Chad. I like his design a lot. Very good. Very good. But yeah, as I said, I'll briefly go over my thoughts again. No, I really enjoyed this trailer. I feel like the thing that James Gunn, as he said, like in many statements leading up to the movie, while making the movie and everything, is that he wants to emphasize the kindness of Superman. You know, like the description of the movie, which you keep seeing pop up, and it's even featured in the synopsis. Like, Superman is a person that believes in kindness in a world that thinks kindness is antiquated. I think that's perfect. And I think, the imagery that we saw is that. They're presenting him as a very human character, because he is, despite being this seemingly all-powerful alien. Like, the trailer, like, it starts with him crashing to the ground, battered brutally. And then doing what I feel like a lot of people would do when they're not feeling great, calling out for their dog and wanting to cuddle, or in this case, like, help me, help me, I'm dying, right? And it's so sweet, and he's so cute and cuddly and fluffy. And then we cut to Metropolis. I like that. Okay, it's like him and Lois. They've known each other for a while. They're in a relationship and all that. We're not going through the whole rigmarole again, setting that up, because we don't need to. We don't need to do the origin story. Like, we know Superman's origin at this point. We don't need to reiterate this, okay? It's like with Batman's origin story. It's like with Superman's origin story. It's like, just stop, okay? Let's just move forward now with this. And it's also just great to see just so many moments where he is actually being Superman. Like, I think one of the big issues that I've certainly had with a lot of recent theatrical adaptations of Superman over the years, for the last decade, is that they don't really present him as being heroic or like saving people at all. That's not really at the forefront of that Superman's of mind, that Zack Snyder Superman. So to see him like in that one shot, that one beautiful shot where he's fighting that kaiju monster, and the thing's foot comes down, a couple of debris to shoot out would have just eviscerated that girl. He swoops in and just covers her as best as he can from like all of that. Like, I was like, yes, that's what we need to see Superman save people. All right, I can't believe that has to be said. All right, but we had 10 years where that seemed to not be the focus. It wasn't at the forefront of his mind most of the times. At least how he was being written and directed, of course. So I like that they're focusing on that. I think that's great. At one point in the trailer, like we see the Kent homestead, and it's very different than what we've seen in the past. I usually have, the 2-story farmhouse and stuff, but here, like, this is much smaller. I mean, of course, it's in Smallville, obviously, but I kind of like that. It's like, the Kents, they're not especially, well, they never really emphasized that the Kents were, like, super well. They had a lot of money, but they had, like, a beautiful home. Here, this looks kind of more realistic. This is a 1-story house and everything. And so I wonder if maybe we're going to see maybe flashes of Clark's upbringing, living in Smallville, being raised by his parents. And I like this one scene where I don't know if this is a flashback or this happens at some point in the movie, because there's times where, like, Clark, he would, flies to Smallville just to hang out with his family over the weekends or whatever they need, of course. Him and Lois go there to visit, like, all the time. But you have him here where he's talking with his dad. And, they're seemingly having like a nice, like, heart to heart. I wonder if the dad's like saying like, maybe you should have let those kids drown that bus. I doubt that. I doubt that. I feel like this podcast probably told him to be the best person he possibly could be. Because the reason why, the thing is, like, the Kents are kind of the unsung heroes of just like the Superman supporting cast, really. Like, the reason why Clark, the reason why Kal-El Superman is the way he is because of these people, because of Jonathan and Martha, and they raised him to believe in kindness, to believe in the good of humanity, right? And it was just like, if he had landed somewhere else, and that's been explored in different adaptations and things, and like how horrible, how that can go awry, right? It was like, thank God for these people, and that they did an amazing job raising this kid as their own and filling his life with so much love. and that inspired him to become this incredible hero. And so I'm very interested to see how they're going to handle the Kents. But we seem like Jonathan's alive, which they've done that. Like most of the time, in the comics, the both parents are still alive. It's not. It's usually like in the movies and some other adaptations where they usually kill Jonathan or both of them or something. Done incredibly well, obviously, in the original 78 film. I love that moment when Jonathan Kent passes away. And as I said before in previous discussions about this, like when we're introduced to like teenage Clark, he can't join the football team because of his powers, but then, working on his frustration, we see him use his powers, whether it be kicking that football like, 2 miles away, or like running faster than a locomotive, like showcasing everything, then going to the farm, his dad wanting to talk to him and stuff, and I think at some point he's distracted, and the dad suddenly has a heart attack. Pa Kent has a heart attack, and despite all the amazing abilities we just saw, Superman can't save his father. He can't save his dad, which is like, and that humanizes him. And I feel like Gunn is going to do that again. Now, I don't know if that's going to involve killing the Kents. Hopefully he doesn't have it where his dad gets sucked into a tornado. Maybe that's what Clark's saying is like, listen, Dad, I hate to break it to you, but at some point in the movie, you're going to get sucked in a tornado, and I'm just not going to be able to save you because for whatever reason, you don't want me to save you. So there he goes. Maybe he's just bracing him for that. He's like, oh, God. You got to do it, Dad. You got to do it at some point. But I love that. A lot of scenes of Clark and Lois just smooth. I love this shot. That's like a splash page in a comic and everything. Just Superman up in the air, twirling around, just giving a good old smoocheroo to Lois. I love that. And he does it again. He does it like 3 times. Like, his whole thing is, I can't he entered the suck zone. Well, the Pa Kent certainly did. He never came back. This is a different kind of suck zone. But yeah, there's like, I think 3 shots where they're just groping and grabbing and lusting. And I'm like, oh, hell yeah. Good for you, Clark. And Rachel Brosnahan, I think she's going to kill it. I think she's going to do a great job as Lois Lane. She's going to bring that sass, but also that love. And she's going to be kind of like irresistible. She'll be wonderful. Yeah, that's going to be great. She'll don't know how to spell anything. Clark's going to have to help her. But she's great. And then, right here, like holding hands and things like that. Look at all that hand holding. Look at that, just going for another smoocheroo. Just a lot of great stuff. And then, outside of because again, I think the thing that's going to constantly be emphasized throughout the movie and all the marketing, leading up to the release is just like, this is a very kind Superman. He believes in the best of humankind. He wants to help people, and they're going to keep showing that. They're going because it's the pendulum swinging the other way, whereas the other one just didn't do that at all. This one, they're going to like really lean into that, which I think is smart. So outside like all the Superman stuff I've seen, from Krypto to Lois to the Kent homestead briefly to Clark Kal-El, Superman himself. I mean, David Cornswet looks great as the character. All that's really working for me. Now there are other aspects to this trailer, obviously. I'm gonna get your guys' perspective on it. Some of the big ones obviously involve Lex Luthor. You got Luthor, which are kind of changing. It's usually all the time. Like, in terms of the company, it's called LexCorp. There have been occasions where they have called it Luthor Corp, whether it be in comics or different narration. I think in maybe Smallville they call it Luthor Corp. I could be wrong. But, new name for the company, which is fine. And then you have, like, all these shots of Nicholas Hoult, which I think Nicholas Hoult, this guy's been almost cast as, like, a ton of different, like, superhero characters. He was in the running for, like, Batman, which eventually went into Robert Pattinson, Matt Reeves, the Batman. He apparently was in the running for Superman before David Cornswet was cast, but then him as Lex Luthor, I think, is kind of brilliant, because he, in the last few years especially, like, he's been a great actor. He's had some wonderful performances these last few years, but he's really good at playing villainous scumbags. And so I think he's going to do a great job as Lex. And I think, like, I don't know if this is official or this came out, if this is from an official DC release, but I think in terms of, like, the setting for the world is that, like, Lex Luthor hates Superman, but they haven't had an interaction yet. So, and I think what this Lex is going to be, because there's also this other great shot. There's this one shot where, there it is. He's just looking pissed off. I feel like he has been publicly embarrassed, publicly humiliated by Superman or something, and he's like about to just fucking explode. He's about to lose control. Look at him, he's about to cry and everything. I'm like, this is because Lex Luthor, he's incredibly intelligent. He can do all these amazing things, but he is completely consumed by his own ego, his bitterness, and his pride. And the fact that really, even though he hates Superman because he wants to be Superman. He wants to be recognized as like, I am the best of humanity. And then he's like, and then this alien comes down and calls himself Superman. I'm the Superman. And that he's never, and that's always gotten, it's always been in his way. He's never been able to move past it. That's like is one of his many flaws, if not his ultimate flaw. But I'm willing to guess that he is just like hates this guy so much despite not having actually had an interaction with him. And so once they inevitably do, when Lex is like just, releasing his just this torrent of rage and abuse and everything towards Clark, Superman's just going to go, I don't even know you, which I think is great. So wonderfully cast. I think this image just stood out to me. I said earlier, it's like, I feel like Lex is just about to buy Twitter and just suddenly jump on a stage at a political rally and do jumping jacks like a certain businessman who's been in the news. So yeah, love what they're doing with him. And then we have like a bunch of the other DC characters. We have Mr. Terrific here. Obviously, apparently he's going to play a really big role in this. I think we may get like an iteration of the Justice Society or something, because we have Mr. Terrific in here. We have Hawk Girl at one point being played by Isabel Merced. And of course, we also have at one point, Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner in this shot right here. They got him with the terrible bowl haircut. It's like, oof, but that's I'm glad they embraced that. I've also noticed like Guy Gardner's uniform, Hawk Girl's uniform, Mr. Terrific's uniform, they all look very similar to each other. And so I think maybe that signifies that they're all on a team. Maybe they're like sponsored by, because the other corporation that showed up here, it's not only Luthor Corp, but we have another one here. It's actually right before this, I want to say. Yeah, when he walks in this building. Stag Industries. So Stag Industries, Simon Stagg, I think, who is a villain. He's responsible for the creation of Metamorpho, or at least the accident that transforms the I forget the civilian name of Metamorpho, but what transforms that person into that character who has all these like crazy abilities and things, and can change his bodies in different types of minerals and like all sorts of materials and stuff. And he's being played by, I think, Anthony Carrigan, who is coming hot off of Barry. He played NoHo Hank in that show. He did such a wonderful job. And I think we also see him pop up. I originally thought, is this Brainiac? Which I was wondering, like, who's going to be the big bad? But we see, at some point in the trailer, we also see Metamorpho show up. And I was like, okay, like a really quick blink and you miss it type of thing. And then, a lot of spectacle, obviously, and him shooting up in the air and everything. But, yeah, I thought this trailer was great. And just Krypto. Krypto just being so goddamn cute. Look at that good boy. He's such a good boy. He's such a good pupper. But, yeah, and then, of course, the music. I thought the music was great, and how they're really leaning into the John Williams theme, playing different, like, covers of it, different iterations of it. You have, like, the guitar riff at one point. Then you have one which is, like, a big sweeping orchestral version, like an epic cover of it. So it's like, all right, it'd be interesting to see, like, different versions of this theme. I'm very curious about the rest of the music in the movie. But really like that they've brought that back. I think we need that. And I'll say this, even though I'm no fan of the Zack Snyder's iteration of Superman, the Hans Zimmer music was actually pretty good. I did like the Man of Steel theme, obviously. But I'm glad that they're re-embracing this again. I think that's smart. But overall, I thought this trailer was excellent. It did the job. I was already super excited for it. It makes me want to see even more. I'm looking forward to the full first official trailer other than this teaser trailer. I think there's no dialogue really? I think there was was there any speaking lines? I think the only speaking lines is with the kid just calling out to Superman. But no speaking lines from everyone else. It's just all, it's mood. It's the aesthetic. It's the vibe. It's the feelings. It's the themes that we're trying to get out there with the imagery. So very cool. Krypto home, and he says, yeah. And again, I love how this starts. Like the trailer starts with him and his Lois, and then it ends with him, soaring off into the sky. which I thought was very, very smart. So, yeah, overall, I really enjoy this trailer. It makes me just want to see more. As I said before, I think like James Gunn and company, they kind of know what they're doing. You know, I've been very impressed with his entries in the DCU, from the Suicide Squad to Peacemaker, most recently Creature Commandos, and I think he's going to nail it with this one. We'll see. You know, movie could come out and be like, nah, that didn't work. It didn't work, and then he'll be in a lot of trouble if that's the case. But I'm hoping for the best. I'm really like what I'm seeing. But what about you guys? Let me see what you guys are saying right now about this trailer here. I'm going to scroll up. Crypto is bestest boy. Part of me wishes they got Bill Burr to play Gardner. Oh my God, that would have been hilarious if they got Bill Burr with the really thick Boston accent. Man, that would have been good. Oh, see, now that you said that, and listen, I love Nathan Fillion. He's a great actor. I think an underrated actor. I think he should have been a lead in tons of other like big movies. Honestly, he just has so much charisma. And I was like, I'm glad he's gonna be green. I was hoping to be Hal Jordan. I was like, oh, him, Guy Gardner, that'll be fun. But now that you said fucking Bill Burr, that would have been perfect. That'd be great. Yeah, I kind of want to see that now. Oh man, but Crypto is definitely bestest boy. He's a good pupper. Austin says, fun fact, his X-Men First Class reunion since Mr. Terrific, the actor was... Oh, that was that guy. Hopefully he doesn't, like, die. I don't think James Gunn will kill this character. That won't be fair to him. That still bothers me. That still sticks in my craw to this day. Is this like, really? A guy who's a bit, like, his whole power is, like, constantly evolving where you can't kill him and then he dies. It's like, real? Okay. Now, so apparently a new Ghostbusters animated movie has just been announced on Superman. Oh, Superman's pretty cool. Yeah, new Ghostbusters. Yeah, with Ghostbusters, I'm just not, after Frozen Empire. I think taking a different medium is smart. I actually like the animated adaptation. I think that's post the first Ghostbusters movie. That's been the best Ghostbusters content. Is the real Ghostbusters, and then the sequel series, Extreme Ghostbusters. Those are fun. So they want to do that, and then cool. They constantly keep doing the same things of all the movies. So we'll see. Biggie Smith got some concerns. It's a bit goofy in places, and it's a bit crowded with a C-list heroes. Microsoft would say overall, no, I think that's a reasonable concern. Because there is definitely a lot of characters in this movie, but unlike other filmmakers who I think have struggled with balancing a lot of other superpowered people in movies, James Gunn, he's been able to balance a lot of those characters pretty well in the past, whether it be in the Guardians of the Galaxy films, most recently in the Suicide Squad. And so I think that is a very justified concern. I can totally see where you're coming from, right? But, I'm looking back in the past, like, he's done that pretty well, though. But we'll see. But that's, I understand that concern. Yeah. So who's villain this movie? So we have Lex Luthor, who's definitely going to be one of the villains, probably the man behind the scenes and things. We see at one point a Superman is fighting a superpowered individual. I believe that's Ultraman. And I think like Frank Grillo is Rick Flag Sr. is supposed to appear in the film at some point in Arrest Superman. I don't know if there's another big villain in here. I guess we'll find out. But for right now, I can safely say Lex Luthor and company. Yeah. Crypto is the villain. He's the secret villain. It's like, no, boy, he stabs it. He's anything but man's best friend. Uberbash really like the trailer. My only concern is how you balance so many characters. Yep, mind you, I know James Gunn is great at movies with a ton of characters. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I think that's a reasonable concern, justified concern. But looking in the past, like, Gunn is pretty good at balancing a lot of people. So I trust him to do it well. But we'll see. I know Metropolis has a lot of good buildings that could be potential targets. A lot of buildings. It's funny. I feel like at one point there's like we see that shot of the building, like this one huge skyscraper falling down. But I think Superman is trying to like stop it. He's like, no. Again, they are addressing criticisms of the past. It's very on the nose too. Deadpool. How am I supposed to jerk myself out with having a power trip fantasy if Superman is an emotionless killing machine demigod? Snyder chuds, pretty much. Them Snyder chuds. Oy, oy, oy. Yeah, because, the typical suspects, I imagine, are complaining about this. I saw some stuff. I saw, like, Henry Cavill trending, and I'm like, okay, here we go. But, what I've seen online, people seem to be pretty positive, like mostly. I'm listening. If people like saw the trailer, like, I didn't vibe with it, didn't really work for me, whatever. I think that's fine. Art's subjective, of course. What I like, you may not like, and vice versa. It worked for me, but I feel like it's been pretty positive so far, which is great. Outside the Zack Snyder of it all, of course. Austinick, this Superman didn't blow up. He didn't blow up a single IHOP. No, or Sears. That's true. Can't do that with Sears anymore. Devil the Kents would have found him in the 90s, so that matches the style of the homes building. Oh, he's yeah. That's good catch. Good point. Very good point. It definitely has that kind of like 80s, 90s look. Nice. Oh, man. Mickey Smith father's usually horrible in James Gunn movies. Well, it depends, I guess, because even he might have been your father, but he wasn't your daddy, right? Isn't that what Yondu said? I think James Gunn is going to make the Kents pretty, integral to the reason why Clark is so kind and hopeful. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, some of them. But hey, sometimes it's not the family you were born with, it's the family you find. And like a lot of these James Gunn movies, and they have like almost like a paternal like characters in there that take care of everyone. Oh, Deadpool, Martha. Why do you say that name? Starts for me the most like, oh, Chris Harris. I want to make one thing. Oh, here we go. All right, gotta brace yourselves. I want to make one thing abundantly clear before I say anything else. This is a really good trailer. It's well put together. It looks like a well-made movie. The casting looks pretty spot on. The Mixon Williams theme is really good. It looks right for a Superman movie, and I love the dog. My problem is that I'm just so burnt out and honestly annoyed superhero and comic book stuff because of how many we've been getting lately, how samey they feel, and how shitty so many of them have been lately. Now, the only thing anyone seems to want to talk about anymore is it's hard for me to get excited about this despite how objectively good this trailer is. I mean, it's fair. Listen, we've got a glut of superhero content over the years. There's no question about that. And, yep, some good, certainly some bad. I mean, this past week, I reviewed Kraven the Hunter. That movie is awful all the way through, except when it's unintentionally funny. And, I think the only thing to counteract, like, bad superhero films is just to make good ones, Actually give a damn, not to just, release as many as possible. Just, take your time to release like really well-crafted ones. And what I'm hoping this will do, like, say that this is a huge, it's a critical success, it's a huge commercial success and everything. It's like, oh wow, it really just puts DC back on the map. Everyone's like, oh shit, they know what they're doing. Plus, we've also had stuff. And the other thing to keep the genre healthy is you do stuff like the Penguin. You do like hopefully what this Clayface movies is going to be. Like you do different things within it. You incorporate different genres, And I'm hoping that with this doing well, because everyone's like, the whole like Marvel versus DC thing. It's like if you prefer one or the other, that's totally fine. But I don't like. In order to make sure that the genre is healthy, like I want both to be like super competitive against each other, to put forward the best movie or TV show or cartoon or whatever, out there. I want them to challenge each other in like not in a like a fuck you kind of way, but a really healthy way. And I'm hoping maybe this will, kick, Marvel's butt in gear and be like, hey, get back to what you were like doing so well for so many years with. Not to say they haven't had some successes they have had, but they've also had some failures, no doubt. So this sucks soon. Maybe Ma Kent. Yeah, they could have switched it up. Maybe Ma Kent passed away because so far we haven't seen her in the show. True. Maybe that's what they're commiserating over is the death of Martha. Martha, where's Martha? He just freaks out. That S stands for hope. That's what that stands for. Bad Boy usually get podcast strong and stern between Glenn Ford or Kevin Costner's podcast. This looks like he works blue collar. Definitely. They need steaks and potatoes. Hell yeah. It was Luthor Corp in Smallville. Okay, so that's where they're taking it from. Interesting. Oh, turns out Lex is also a Snyder fan. Oh, really? Oh, no. Oh, no. He does look like Agent 47. You're right. Lex Twitter's worth how much now? The boss, what twist it would be if this podcast has the same mentality as the one for Snyder's version? Son, I love you, but what the fuck are you always saving people? Why are you doing that? Should have let those kids drown. Should have just let them drown. I don't think they're going to do that. I think it's going to be a very wholesome, very wonderful relationship. And I think that's what we need. Because if this character, again, is a person that believes in kindness in a world that thinks kindness is antiquated, where did he get that from? He got it from his parents. And so I'm thinking like, yeah, here we go. Oh, Lord. Let's see here. That title after Chef Slowick, yeah, called him on his bullshit to me. Yeah, I love that. Like a man. That's what the Nicholas Holtz Lex Luthor I think is going to be. Oh. Biggie Smith, too many goofy C-list heroes in this, I feel. The thing is, though, like, listen. Like, I felt the same way when Guardians of the Galaxy was announced. People gotta remember, like, the Guardians of the Galaxy, no one knew who the fuck these characters. Not saying like no one knew, but mainstream people didn't know who the Guardians of the Galaxy were. We had no idea. Even I was like, I think one of them, there's a talking raccoon named Rocket, and there's a tree that says I am Groot. That's it. That's all I knew. And then that movie came out, I was like, oh shit. Like, all these characters are incredibly charming and well written, and I really like them, and they're a wonderful family. And he continued forward with that to make 3 movies. I think the third one, you can make an argument, is probably perhaps the best one. And he made a lot of those goofier characters, I feel like, work and feel real. And I think he did the same thing in the Suicide Squad. Look at Peacemaker. That character proved to be so, like, no one knew who Peacemaker was. Again, not saying that no one knew, but he wasn't a known person in the mainstream. And John Cena, like, what was written for him and how he was directed and his performance was great. And everyone else in there, but that led to then a hit HBO show, which is going to be in a second season. And it's like, great. I think you can make an argument that the best of the DCEU, which now those projects are now very much in the DCU, aside from some things you just have to ignore. And James Gunn's like, that didn't happen. But it's pretty much, it's all there. It's like that led to like the Z-list character getting a spin-off show that is probably the best, alongside the Suicide Squad, the best things to come out of that universe, which is crazy. So again, I think it's a justifiable concern to say, like, there's a lot of characters in there, a lot of goofy C-listers. You're not wrong, but I mean, James Gunn has handled those characters well in the past, like in other things, and so I'm just like, I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. But I understand that concern. Like, I don't think that's unreasonable. I get that completely, but I just feel like Gunn's done that pretty well. Yeah, sponsored by Maxwell. Ooh, yeah, because he's, oh my God, yeah, for that, wow. Is Maxwell Lord in the movie? Just Hi, it's a good one. Yeah, if it's Maxwell Lord, then perhaps he's sponsoring these other heroes like Guy Gardner and Hawkgirl and Mr. Terrific in their own team, his own Justice Society, because Maxwell Lord for a long time was like a sponsor of the Justice League. So that's what they're probably taking that from the comics. That's okay. Yeah, it makes, and of course, James Gunn's using that. That makes sense. Too Tall Hard Hands. Good to see you, Too Tall. Yo, what's up? Because my Game family. So you're good. We're just talking about the trailer. Having a nice discussion, going back and forth. I know the crypto plush, the crypto merch. Bugs Dab says, I love crypto already. Me too. He's a super cute, good boy. Yeah. Too Tall says the Superman trailer looks so good. I'm excited for that movie. Yeah, me too. We're going to watch it one more time. Crypto, home, take me home, goddammit. Huggy Bear, hello to you. Hope you're doing very well. Good to see him. Dil Murray. Clark, I drank your last Snapple. Jonathan Kent stops control. Oh, my Lord. Andrew Kyle Badeau. Way too many characters for a century. Well, we've talked about that. I've kind of addressed that point. You probably just heard what I just said. So we'll see. But I mean, Gunn handles those characters well in the past. So give him benefit of the doubt. But it's a justifiable concern. He was like, Gunn has the epic skill. Superman, right? What's of the heart? Yes, I agree. Just how you peep Gorilla Grodd in the newspaper and Lex Luthor power suits in the scene of a strip. No, I didn't know. Look at that. So there's a Gorilla Grodd reference. That's cool. And I think Lex Luthor's going to get into his power suit at one point in the film. It's because we see him like he's really like damaged, like he's injured and everything. So I expect he'll be in a suit at some point. That's going to be cool. Dad Chicken Wayne Isaac Stevenson, good to see you. So is that big alien looking thing near the end of the trailer Solaris or some other Superman villain? Oh, that I don't know. Like the kaiju he's fighting? I'm not sure. That's a good question. I'm convinced it's from the comics. I'm just not familiar with that specific creature. Either do something new or nothing. No, I think the current fan theory is Ultraman's the villain and that he might have been created by Luthor. Oh, okay. Which they've done in the comics. Like, Luthor creates a Superman clone or like an abomination of Superman. Yeah. Matt Yabbitt's hoping this means the actual Terrifics are in this. Yes. Or at least a variation of them. Luca Boss, the guitar riff for the John Williams Superman theme gives me a 90s feel. I don't know how to describe it. It's a nice Superman film. Actually happened. I would have seen them do it. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I like it though. I didn't mind the guitar riff. So it's supposed to be. That was the current time frame. I assume it's current. I don't think this is they're going to make this a period piece. I mean, maybe there'll be flashbacks and stuff to like something from the 90s or the 80s or things like when the Kents were raising Clark. But and that's just me assuming. That's not me knowing. But yeah, as far as I know, this is set. I'm 2025. I'm going to guess 2025, 2024. Just one of the promising things I've learned is that David Cornsway and Christopher Lee went to Juilliard. Oh, yeah. It's little things I know. Like David Hutching over his his physicality as Clark is wonderful. They're gonna he's a dork, which I feel like was missing from the previous theatrical iteration of Superman. It just wasn't there at all. He was just the same person. Where here it's like he's got to pretend, and so I like that. Yeah, so we're gonna get some funny comedic stuff. Is Sears still around? Nah, Sears is gone. Yeah, Superman killed it. He destroyed it, just like all those buildings. Oh, man. Oh, Isaac, hey there, man. About to update. Thank you, good sir. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's see here. Lex just wants to make out. He just wants to fuck Superman. Just wants to do it. Just do it. Yo, Chris, KC. Yo, right back at you. Came out of Sonic 3 movie. Will say it's a very fun time, and I enjoyed the writing quality and the performances of Keanu and Ben Schwartz along with Jim Carrey, although I would have done with a bit less of the scenes where Jim Carrey's doing 2 Robotnik scenes. Oh, I think that's the thing I am most excited about is the 2 Robotniks. I'm actually really jazzed about that, so we'll see. We'll see. MCU has 3 movies coming out next year. Yeah, they got 3 movies. Captain America 4, Thunderbolts, and... what's the other one? Oh, Fantastic Four. That's the one I'm most excited for. And 6 shows because they learned nothing over the last 3 years. What are the shows? Well, you have Daredevil, which I'm looking forward to. That's coming out next year, right? They got to do Daredevil. Daredevil, I assume. I think they're doing that Spider-Man animated series. There's that. Oh, God. What are some of the other shows? I guess I'm trying to remember what some of the other shows. Oh, I guess Wonder Man. They're doing Wonder Man. The ones I'm most interested in is definitely the Daredevil TV series. I'm really jazzed about that. Funny bringing up the Awful Dad thing, gun stuff. When I saw the actor playing Paul look like when they cast a guy, I thought this guy kind of looks like he'd be in the KKK. Damn. Oh no. Oh Lord. Let's see here. Yeah. But yeah, Kevin Costner podcast was like, "Fuck them kids." The mom was that way too. And I was like, ugh. Just make good movies. If it is good superhero stuff, I'll watch it. If not, pass. Certainly prefer A24 and weird David Lynch-esque movies, but even fast food movies can work if they're good. I don't even like to describe them as fast food, though. I don't like that description personally. I like to, judge everything, and based on it, what it's giving me, how it's making me feel. That could, my favorite movie of the year could be a small independent movie. And hey, this year my favorite movie is The Substance, right? This kind of crazy, wacky, but extremely poignant and just impeccably made, like body horror film, right? But then it could be like a giant spectacle movie that just it offers me incredible entertainment, but also like really charismatic characters and has a lot of heart. So, I'm always gonna judge it based on like what it's providing me, whether it's huge or whether it's small. That's just me. This is how I feel. James gonna make me care about a robot from the 40s who loves to kill. Exactly. Watching Creature Commandos, he's making me care about these guys. He made me do that in 22 minutes. He did in 22 minutes flat. It's pretty good. But you're right about gun zombies has way. That's the thing. Like, and again, I'm not dismissing anyone's criticism because that I think is a legitimate worry to have. Believe me. But and we'll see if he's able to balance it. But I'm just based on his past, he seems to have done it well, pretty well. Let's see. I will say I'm optimistic, says KC, that we're finally out of the Snyderverse. And yeah, me too. I'm glad to finally see a good Superman movie and finally see Superman movie with the tone of Superman. Yeah, we're finally going to get Superman movie with the tone of Superman. Yes, after all these years. It's true. I'm not even like making fun of that statement. It's just like, it's a crazy thing to say, but it's true. Because there's another thing I like about this trailer is that it looks like it's breaking away from the gun formula that I feel like I've started to notice. Team of fuck-offs being put together, needle drops, the bad thing we already mentioned. And I think that's a good thing because it shows he's serious about trying to make his own. It's something. Yes. And I feel like he said like music is going to play a role in that, but he's like even distinctly, I think he even specifically said like there won't be like needle drop moments. He won't do that. And so I feel like, because that was another concern I think people have had is like, is this Superman movie going to feel like Guardians of the Galaxy? Is it going to feel like the Suicide Squad? And I honestly really do feel like he's going to make this a very endearing and hopeful movie. Will that humor? I think like that humor, you might see that with like because Guy Gardner is an asshole like through and through. And so if there is a character in this movie that is going to have any of those sensibilities or those Jane Gunn isms, if you will, it'll be probably that. But outside of that, it'll probably be all, what we Well, certainly what I would want from a Superman film. He's played by Sean Gunn, of course. Very cool. Yes, Maxwell Lord, and he's being played by Sean Gunn. That man, how many DC characters has he played? He's the Weasel. He's been Calendar Man briefly. He was G.I. Robot, you know. Now he's Maxwell Lord. He's got to go for five characters. Let's see here. Maybe Marvel should restart some of the shows to 2026 because, yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, you know, I'm hoping they're good. At the end of the day, hoping they're just great. But we'll find out. We'll get the other Justice League members before they were in the main league. Oh, man, Gil Grotto, he's setting up as another villain, new gunner. Yeah. I mean, well, they've kind of said, James Gunn has said, like, this is a universe that's been around for a while. We have other heroes and things. You know, it's like, okay, that's cool. So I like that. You know, it's not going to, you know, start from where it's like, the world has never seen heroes before. So James Gunn's considered having the Suicide Squad fight Superman at one point. That would be nuts. I mean, I feel like he would decimate that. Well, it might be canon that you had, what's his name? Idris Elba, Bloodsport, shoot Superman with a kryptonite bullet. You know, in that movie, it's like, oh, so he did it to Henry Cavill Superman. Well, maybe he did it to, you know, David Cornsweat Superman. It's like, oh, shit. Like, we'll see. We'll see how much of that, you know, they'll incorporate. Because they are doing that right now. They are acknowledging the events of Peacemaker and the Suicide Squad and Creature Commandos. And so I assume that will carry over to these future movies. But we'll see. Will there be more Superman villains to show up? Possibly Parasite. Will they sub for sequel? I mean, I don't know. I know Lex Luthor's in this, obviously. And I know that they have Ultraman in this. Outside of that, I have no idea. I'm not sure. Guessing that T-Rex looking kaiju is a callback to the old 1940s cartoon. Oh, we're hoping they want that to. Oh, I'm sure they did. Yeah. I agree. And just it kind of just looks like your base superhero movie, which there's nothing wrong with, but I was blown away. Yeah, I guess I disagree. I guess for me, you know, we just haven't gotten a Superman film where, I mean, really in decades, where they've had it where they focused on his endearing, kind nature. And that, to me, is just extremely appealing, and that's what I want. And that's what I want this movie to feel like. I just want him to... We're going to have the spectacle. We're going to have Lex Luthor. I'm sure Nicholas Holt's going to do a great job. These other supporting characters. We're really going to get a sense of, okay, what this universe is. But the thing that I just need... what I most desire is to have this movie move me. Like, you know, I want to get emotional while watching this. I want to get watery-eyed, you know, because I think of certain moments in the original, 78 Superman movie or an episode Superman animated series or Just League the animated series or, hell, even My Adventures of Superman. You know, it's like what they do with the character is it just lean into the things that defined him and make him so inspirational. And again, kind. And so if they do that, then I'm like, you got me. You know, I'll be like, all right, you nailed it. That's what I feel like I want them to do more than anything. And I feel like he'll do it. But we'll see, of course. Let's see here. Really like Superman trailer. This is the Guts. Oh, good to have you, Thunderguts. Captures the heart of Superman. Well, I thought as opposed to the Zack Snyder, bad. Yeah, agreed. Let's see here. Oh, so the shows are Marvel Zombies, Ironheart, the animated Spider-Man, and Wonder Man, and Daredevil. It's a lot. I wasn't a fan of the Marvel Zombies What If episode. I didn't care for that. Of those, the things I'm most excited about, Daredevil is definitely high on that list because apparently they're even saying it's even darker than the original show, which is great. And then that animated Spider-Man series. And, of course, I can't wait for the next season of X-Men 97, but, you know, we have to wait for that. I love The Substance. That right there is the only movie I think is one of the best I've seen all year. It's definitely my favorite. It's my favorite. But there's certainly other movies I've really enjoyed. Love how the colors pop. Yes, it's a good change from DCU of old. I mean, yeah, aesthetically, it's just very different looking, which they need to. The one thing that, I mean, there's several things that might hurt this movie inevitably. It's because we've seen this. A lot of, I mean, the most recent DC films, they were all commercial failures. Even the Suicide Squad didn't do well for, again, a variety of reasons, because it came out during the pandemic. It had the same date, streaming release. You know, it was coming off of awful movie with Suicide Squad, so it had that name and that connection. So, you know, which was very sad. But then you had all these other just like flops, like people just eventually just abandoned his universe. And, we're very much in the bubble. Like, we love talking movies. We know about this director, this actor, this scene, this information. We like to gush about it because it's interesting, it's fun. But, mainstream audiences, they don't follow it as nearly as closely as we do. And so, like, many of them are like, oh, they're finally doing another Henry Cavill Superman movie. Like, I think some people are going to think this guy is still Henry Cavill. And it might pay, for the sins of the past, sadly. So I think it certainly has a bit of an uphill battle, but just having the trailer be so huge and trend, people talking about it, then it permeating through the pop culture zeitgeist, we'll see. But it's got some things going up against it. So. When Jimmy Olsen reads the newspaper, you can see Gorilla Grodd. Ooh, you can also see the police officer outside the Daily Planet outfit. Seems like he's involved the crisis in the country. Where we see the boy of the flag, and I think Grodd is the big bad. Ooh, that'd be cool. And then if it's like, and then it's Grodd shows it. Yeah, that'd be crazy. Yes. Let's see here. Call me cynical, but I'll believe Daredevil was darker when I see it. That's fair. That's it. I am interested in the show. Getting D'Onofrio's Kingpin again is a big one for me. Same. It's gonna be Punisher too. Well, he's coming back as well. I don't want to spoil it, but he's featured in the season. Which Superman gets me into the old stellar quality DCAU. Definitely, I still say I'm not gonna go back and do more DCAU content. I would love that if they did sequel shows, but they should just do a My Adventures universe. They should do. We've talked about this before. Like My Adventures of Batman, where it's like, it's a father-son story where it follows Dick Grayson, and he's like, this is My Adventures with Batman. I think that'd be really cool. Do that My Adventures with Wonder Woman, where it's, Steve Trevor and Diana doing stuff together, and then you can eventually lead up to My Adventures with the Justice League. It's like, all that. I think that would be great to do. We're certainly going to keep getting a lot of DC animated stuff, over the next few years, which I'm looking forward to. More My Adventures Superman, obviously. I know we're getting at least another season of that, but I would love for that universe to proliferate and continue to expand and do different characters. I think that'd be wonderful because they reference a lot of stuff in those shows, and they're pushing outward. The boundaries are expanding. And Creature Commandos has been great. I've really enjoyed that, and that's very much connected to this universe. And they announced that they're going to be doing a Sergeant Rock movie at some point, apparently, with Daniel Craig, and I always forget the director's name, but the director of Challengers this year, also did other movies like Bones and all. He's done other stuff. I think he also directed Queer. With Daniel Craig, so that's probably the Daniel Craig connection. And G.I. Robot is going to show up in that movie because, well, not to spoil Creature Commandos, Sergeant Rock appears in episode 3, where we kind of get to know him and his interactions with G.I. Robot. So I think that's what they're going to do. Let's see here. The thing that's going to hurt is Fantastic Four coming out 2 weeks. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to Fantastic Four. Listen, I wanted that. Fantastic Four has had a rough time in terms of adaptations, and so I'd love for that to be good. So, yeah, we'll see. Arby's Henry looking good in this. Yeah, I bet that's what they're going to be saying. Adventures of the Justice League, not My Adventures with the Super Friends, indeed. Cheers to the Tin Man. Yeah, he was great. They want to do an animated dynamic duo. That's right, yes. That's kind of cool, but that's, to my point earlier, the best way to keep this genre healthy or keep it interesting is just to do radically different stuff sometimes. And so I like that they're still going to be doing these villain movies. Like, they're going to do a Clayface body horror film. Great. I think that's wonderful. This apparently animated dynamic duo film where it's, who is it? It's Nightwing and I think Jason Todd as Red Hood, I suppose. And it's going to be like incorporating different animation styles or like little claymation or stop motion. Like, this is interesting. So I was like, yeah, that's how you do it. So I'm excited for that. Very excited for that. I showed my grandmother the trailer. I watched this month throughout. She looked at me and said, yeah, I want to see this. I think this movie is going to do really well. I hope so, too. I hope it does well. I really want it to do well. I want this, first of all, I want it to be good, obviously. If it's not good, I'll let you know. At least share my opinion on it. But yeah, that's why I want this to be good, and I want this to then be like, all right, now we can get more stories in this world with these other characters and hopefully have them adapted well. That's what I want at the end of the day. I love Marvel and I love DC and I love, superhero content. I want to see good versions of it. I just don't want to settle for slop, And it sucks that we had to wait over 10 years to get this, to have it be in the hands of someone who cares, and it wasn't in the hands of someone who cared, a decade ago. That's frustrating. But I'm hoping this is a good step forward, and we'll get more of this. And just at the end of the day, I'm just hoping this movie's great. Hoping the movie's great. I thought it was a great trailer. I'm looking forward to the other things they'll release and these other upcoming projects. I will share my thoughts on these things, and I'll let you know. Of course, I'll let you know. Let's see here. Hope indeed. Keep hope alive. Casey, I saw Effect the villain, the Creature Commandos, is Cersei, which is very cool. Well, yeah, she's at least the initial villain. And how they use her has been very fun. I will say that. Louis Boss, yeah, it's cool to switch up stuff up. Agreed. That's what you gotta do. That's how you keep the genre healthy. It's kind of funny, actually. The last 4 movies Superman has been in have been bad, and the last 4 Fantastic Four movies have been bad. It would be great for both of them to. That would be great if both of them are great. I hope so. I'm not one of these. Listen, it's so funny because people like back in the day, like when I was so critical of a lot of these, DC films that were coming out. Not all of them. There's some I actually like. But, specifically the very Snyder-y ones. People were saying, like, oh, you hate DC, Chris. I'm like, I don't hate DC at all. I love DC. That's why I was so critical of these movies. I felt like these were awful adaptations of so many of these characters. From Superman to Batman to Aquaman, there were some good ones, no doubt. But a lot of them are kind of few and far between. So hopefully this will be a start of a good thing. My man! The thing is, Jason Momoa is actually good. I actually liked him as Aquaman. I just hated all the movies he was in. Especially the last one. The last Aquaman movie, that was even worse than The Flash. I was like, I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow. I was like, that blew my mind. I was like, this movie's actually worse than The Flash. Huh. And that was the last of the DCEU, right? That was the last DCU movie. And I think the thing that kind of perfectly represented the DCEU is that, because it was like, you had this cheeseburger, right? Like you had a character, you had Ocean Master, Orm. He was eating a cheeseburger at the end, and it's kind of like, oh, it's DC. It's like, it's all the movies that I personally thought were pretty good, like Wonder Woman or the first Shazam, the Suicide Squad, Peacemaker. But then you just, in the film, they established that, like Arthur tricks him to eat like a cockroach, and he fucking loves it. He loves cockroaches. And so at one point, it's like it's the stinger of the movie, matter of fact. He sees a cockroach like scuttling across the table, and he smashes with his hand. He puts on his burger, and he's like, and he just eats it. It's like that. And that cockroach was like Man of Steel, and it was Batman v Superman. It was just Suicide Squad. It was like all those, and I was like, oh my god. It was Justice League, It was like, oh. So yeah, it summed it up very well. Summed it up very, very well. But yeah, hoping for the best for this. I want this to be good. I don't want to see bad Superman movies. I want to see bad movies in general.